Good evening. We're going to continue with our Module 2 and in Lesson 2. Well, we're going to continue with our unit form. And when we say unit form, we are going to be looking for the tens and how it's written. So 10 tens is really saying 100. 12 tens is saying 120. 14 tens is 140. 16 tens is 160. 18 tens is 180. 20 tens is 200. Basically what we're saying here, guys, is that we're saying 10 times 10 is 100. 10 times 12 is 120. And we can keep going. Each time we're moving up, we are multiplying by 10. 8 ones divided by 2 is equal to 4 ones. What is 8 ones divided by 2 in unit form? We would write it as 4 ones. But the traditional way is just 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. The 8 is our total, and the 2 is representing how many groups we're putting that 8 into. And the 4 would represent how much is going into each group. 16 ones divided by 2. So we would have a total of 16, and we would have to break it up into 2 groups. And we would have to take each of the 16 and put some in this first circle and some in the second circle. And when we would do that, we would end up with 8 ones. 18 ones divided by 3. So we would make 3 groups and place those 18 ones separately to fit everything we can in each one of those circles. So we would have 3 groups, and we would take those 18 ones and place them in there equally. And when we say equally, we're using division. And we would have 6 ones go in each one of those circles. Next one, we have 27 ones divided by 3. So here is our total, and this is how many groups we would be making. 1, 2, 3. We would be taking this 27 ones and spreading them equally into each one of these circles. And we can think to ourselves, 3 times what is going to give us 27? And that's why knowing our facts is so important. We would say 9 ones would go into each one of those circles. Continuing, we have a total of 20 ones, and we're putting them into 4 equal groups. And we need to say to ourselves, 4 times what gives us 20? Well, it would be 5 ones that would go into each one of these 4 groups. Continuing on, we have a total of 40 ones, and we need to put them into 5 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take 40 ones and spread them equally into these 5 groups. 5 times what gives us 40? We would have 8 ones. Continuing on to the next one, we have 42, a total of 42 ones, breaking them up into 6 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Taking those 42 ones and placing them equally into these 6 circles. And when we do that, we would have to be placing 7 ones. 6 times 7 is 42. Great way to check your division is using the inverse operation, which means the opposite, which is multiplication. All right, continuing on, we have 63 ones, a total. This is our total, 63 ones, and we need to spread them equally into 7 groups. And when we take our total of 63 ones and place them equally into those 7 groups, and we would say 7 times what gives us 63, we would say 9 ones. And our last one is a total of 64 ones, and we need to place them into 8 equal groups. So we would draw our circles to show 8 groups, and we would take these 64 ones and place them equally into each one of those groups. And we would say to ourselves, 8 times what gives us 64? And we would say 8 ones. So 8 ones goes into each one of those circles. When we look at this chart here, we see in box A, we see 12 divided by 4 equals 3. Then we see in B, 4 times what gives us 120. 150 divided by 5 equals 30. And then we have these groups that we're placing in these groups of 10 into 4 equal groups. Which one kind of matches each other? Well, over here I see 12 divided by 4 equals 3. Well, I don't see anything matching. This looks very similar. This does not match anything at all in any of these, so I'm just going to kind of just cross this guy out. This one right here shows 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 30, and it's spreading out into 4 equal groups. So if we do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, well, this looks like the inverse operation of this. This is division. This is showing me 120 total is divided into 4 equal groups. So these are very much the same thing because it's the inverse operation. This would say to me, how much is in each group? Well, 30 is in each group. 10, 10, and 10 all equal 30. So 30 is in each group. So we have 4 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 groups, and then there are 30 in each of those groups, so we got a total of 120. So B and D really complement each other very well. So just continuing on, we have 6 divided by 3. Here are our 6 ones, and this represents the total. When we write out a division sentence, we always put the total first, and then how many groups we're putting it into. So over here we have our 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's our total, and we're putting them into 3 groups, and that's why we would have 3 divided by 3. So how many groups did we make? We made 3 groups. How many ones are in each group? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That represents our total. And we divide by how many groups that we made. We made 3 groups to fit in all of these 6 ones equally. So how many do we fit in each one of those 3 groups equally? We put 2. So there's 2 ones in this problem. Okay, so what is 6 ones divided by 3? Hopefully you chose 2 ones. Here is our 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Spread out, that's our total, and it's in 3 groups. That's what we would divide by. And inside, we have 2 ones. Okay, in this next example, we have 6 divided by 3. So as you remember, like I've been saying, this is our total, 6. And how many groups we're making is 3. 1, 2, 3. So how many can we place in each one of these groups would be 1, 2, 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's our 6. And how much do we have in each group? Well, as you guys can see, we have 2 1s in this group. Well, it's the same idea if we did 60 divided by 3, because we have a total of 60, so that's 6 10s, and we're putting those 6 10s into 3 equal groups. And how would that look? Well, we would need to place, now 60 divided by 3, same thing. We would have to take 60 and spread them out into 3 groups. So we would have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So how many 10s are in each group? Well, we would have 2 10s, which is equal to 2 times 10, 20. The same math fact can help us find both quotients, because a quotient is an answer to a division problem. So knowing 6 divided by 3, if you know that's 2, then you're going to know what 60 divided by 3 is, 20. If you come across a problem that says 80 divided by 4 is equal to how much? What will your quotient be? You would know that this is your total. You have to break it up into 4 equal groups. So if you can't figure this out, think to yourself, well, the basic fact. 8 divided by 4 is 2, because 2 times 4 is 8. Ah, that makes sense. So 80 divided by 4 would be equal to 20, because 8 divided by 4 is 2. Then we would just add on that 0 to show that 80 divided by 4 is 20. 2 10s. That's the unit form. Okay, in our word problem tonight, we have 3 friends that have 2 bags of pennies. The first bag has 24 pennies, and the second bag has 240 pennies. The friends share the pennies in each bag equally. How many pennies does each friend get from each bag? So let's really look at this. We've got 3 friends, and we have 2 bags. Now, I see a total here in one bag. This is our total, 24. And the second bag, we have another total of 240 pennies. And the friends share the pennies in each bag equally. So we know when we hear that word each and equally, we're going to be doing division. And lots of times when they give us a total, that also tells us that we're most likely going to be dividing. These are very magical words in a word problem to show us what operation we're going to be doing. How many pennies does each friend get from each bag? Again, that's telling us a signal, a clue word that we're going to be dividing. So in our first one, we have to solve how many pennies is each friend going to get from the first bag. So in the first bag, we've got a total of 24 pennies, and we need to divide them equally into 3 groups. So remember, our multiplication facts come really handy now. Here's our total, and we're taking them and we're putting them into 3 equal groups. We would need to take that 24 and divide them up into each one of these groups equally to fit them all in. But we need to think 3 times what gives us 24. Well, we know 3 times 8 is equal to 24. So in the first bag, each friend is going to get 8 ones. All right, now what about the second bag? Well, the second bag has 240 pennies, so that's our total. 240 pennies, and we're splitting them up amongst 3 friends. We got to divide them up equally into 3 groups. So now this is going to be a lot more. This is 240 that we need to take and split up equally into each group. Well, if we're able to solve the first bag, knowing that 24 divided by 3 is 8 ones, well, just use that fact. 3 goes into just 24, 8, and then there's your 0, 80, which is really just saying 8 tens. So there's 8 tens in each one of these groups. So each friend in the second bag is going to get 80 pennies or 8 tens. Look at this one. 400 divided by 5. You're going to look at that and you're like, oh boy, that looks tough. Well, 400 divided by 5 is the same thing as saying 40 divided by 5. It's the same process. If you know that the total is 40 and you're making into 5 groups, and you think to yourself, 5 times what gives you 40, we know that would be, 8 ones. 8 times 5 is 40. Well, if we know this fact, then we're going to know what this one is, because 5 goes just into 40. 8 with that extra 0 is 80, so we have 8 tens. 8 tens times 5 is 400. Okay, it's time for you to shine. Liz has 5 times as many stickers as Ray. Liz has 350 stickers. How many stickers does Ray have? Next problem, 6 tens divided by 2 is how many tens? 18 tens divided by 3 is how many tens? Keep on shining, 4th graders. Great job tonight. We'll practice this skill tomorrow. Not with SpongeBob, though.